All right, hip exercise number 1. We're gonna get onto both of our knees, and I'm gonna put all my weight in my left leg and kick this right foot out to the side. I'm gonna start by squeezing my thighs together, squeezing my glutes, making sure that my ribs are stacked over top of my hips. So I'm nice and stable through that torso. And from here, as it's comfortable, I'm gonna sit my hips back towards this left heel, feeling a stretch down the inside of my thigh, and then coming back up. So opening up the right hip here and the right inner thigh, and play around a little bit with this right foot. If you want to try pointing your toe up to the ceiling, pointing your toe to the front of the room, and just see how that changes the stretch. Remembering to breathe as you work through the repetitions. I'm just going as low as it's comfortable. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. Okay, now I'm going to bring this foot out in front of me here, and we're going to do the exact same thing with my legs straight out. I'm going to sit my hips back, feeling a stretch down my hamstring. And if it's comfortable, you can rock all the way forward, putting that weight on your front right foot here. Squeeze your left glute, make yourself tall, feeling that stretch down your left hip here. I'm going to sit those hips back again, stretching down the right hamstring, coming back up, squeeze the glute, stretching out that left hip. We're just flowing between these two, noticing how things are feeling. You can, if your knee is bothering you on the floor, you can bunch up your yoga mat or put a towel there for a little more cushion. And just kind of working through those stretches, trying to coordinate. Okay, so I'm going to do the same too, but from the side this time so you can see what I'm doing. So kicking the foot out to the side, I'm tall, stacked, my spine is stacked nice and tall here with my weight on this right leg. This time I'm doing my other side, sitting the hips back towards my heel, keeping this left leg straight. Feeling that stretch. And again, you can play around with where your left toe is pointing. It's going towards the ceiling or towards the front of the room. Noticing what's comfortable. I'm doing this with a sock on, but you could also do it with like a towel or a glider or a Tupperware lid underneath that left foot. Okay, rock that foot out in front of you. From this bottom position, you're going to come up tall, shift that weight into your left foot, squeeze your right glute and make yourself nice and tall. Take a breath. We're going to rock back, stretch that left hamstring. Okay, coming up into that lunge, stacking yourself, stretch the right hip, sitting back on your heel, stretching that left hamstring. Taking your time, noticing how things are feeling. Moving through that range of motion that feels comfortable for you. Hip stretch number 3, I guess, if you want to count those last 2 as 2 stretches. So lying on your back, I'm going to start with my legs straight. See if this feels okay for you. Sometimes when our legs are straight, that can put some stress on our low back. So if you want to have a bend, soft bend in one of your knees, that's okay. All you're going to do here, take a bent leg and you're going to drop it across your hips, feeling a nice stretch through maybe your low back, through your hip. Hang out there for a second and then bring it back to center, switch sides. So this is a nice dynamic movement. We're just flowing between the stretch. And I like to think about having my arms in an airplane position. So your objective here is to let gravity take that leg as far as it can go while you're still keeping both of your shoulders glued to the ground the best that you can. Doesn't have to look like anything in particular, just noticing how things feel and remembering to breathe. Okay. Okay, so this one is a little bit more fun. Feel free to try it out, and if you hate it, let me know and I'll send you an alternative, but This is one of my favorite ones to do, especially after like a long day and I just want to relax. So I'm going to bring my feet off the ground. I'm going to tuck my pelvis so my low back is nice and flat and cozy on the floor here. Tucking my chin, and I'm going to try to grab my arm around and grab the sides of my feet, kind of hugging my knees towards my chest. And just take some breaths there. Let your legs relax, feeling a stretch maybe through your hip or through your hamstrings. Trying to keep your shoulders relaxed and away from your ears as you're breathing. And I'm just kind of naturally swaying side to side in this position, but you can do a little bit more of a rocking back and forth if this feels good on your low back. You can play around with maybe straightening one leg a little bit at a time, or pushing into your hands with both feet, lengthening through your body, and just kind of hang out and see how things are feeling. Take a few breaths. Like I said, this one's just a nice relaxing stretch for me. Totally. Just for good measure, I have a feeling you're familiar a little bit more with these couple of stretches, but we're going to do a figure 4 stretch. So this is just bringing my right ankle just above my left knee on the mat here. And I'm just letting this right knee kind of fall away from my body, feeling that stretch in my right hip. Take a second, relax, hang out there for a minute. If you feel this right knee is kind of winging up, feel free to give it a gentle nudge. Trying to relax that right hip. If you want more of a stretch, you can scooch that left knee in tighter, or your left heel in tighter towards your bum, so that this whole thing's kind of up a little bit higher. Or if you want more of a stretch from there, you can still just hug everything a little bit tighter towards your body, so driving this left knee forward. I like to grab onto maybe my ankle and just kind of find that nice point where you have some uncomfortable tension. We're just going to hang out there. This is a nice static stretch, just breathing and holding it for maybe 30 seconds. I like to wiggle my toes or do some ankle circles while I'm here, if that feels okay. Try to keep those ears down and away from your shoulders. Don't tense up your neck more than you have to. Okay, so relax that heel back down to the floor. And we're going to switch feet here. So now the left ankle is going across the right knee, letting gravity take that knee and just fall away from your body. I like to take a second and just be curious, because usually one side of my body is a little more tight than the other, which is the case right now. So I'm just trying to find that symmetry in your range of motion and how far that hip wants to fall. And as you wish, you can increase the intensity, walk that heel in towards your bum, or you can hug everything a little bit tighter towards your chest here. Playing around as it feels good with some wiggling your toes and some ankle circles if you wish. Okay. All right. Next stretch, we're going to come up to seated, nice little butterfly pose. So I'm going to start soft bend in my knees. I'm going to make my spine tall, and then as you're comfortable, walk those heels in towards your body. I like to push the soles of my feet together, and then just let your knees fall to the floor as low as they'll go. They don't have to go low. It doesn't have to look like anything. You're just kind of being curious, feeling that stretch maybe down the inside of your thigh or the outside of your hip. Trying to keep your spine nice and tall as you can. And if you'd like to, you can make it more intense and walk those heels in a little bit tighter towards your body. Feeling that stretch. Taking some nice breaths. I like to do neck stretches whenever I'm just bored and holding poses, because why not? Good old neck circles never hurt anybody. Okay. I feel like that was 30 seconds. Next one, classic old foot out. One, I've got my right leg straight in front of me, just a soft bend in this right knee, and then I'm just kind of relaxing the left leg, letting it do whatever it wants to do. I'm going to take both my hands and stack them over each other, and I'm just going to take a nice inhale, nice long exhale as I slowly reach towards this right ankle. So I'm just kind of sliding my fingers down my calf, finding that nice point of tension. And I find that this stretch here really gets into my low back more than a typical toe touch, because we're reaching across our body a little bit. So assuming it feels okay for you and you're feeling a good stretch, find that nice point of tension and just take some nice breaths. Don't feel like you need to always go farther, but if it feels good, you can kind of reach a little farther on the exhales. Again, wiggle your toes, move them around, see how that feels. If you want to feel more of a stretch down your calf, you're just going to point your toes to your nose. Being curious, where do you feel the tension? How intense does it feel? Can you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, switch sides, so letting that right leg relax, kicking that left leg out, soft bend in your left knee. You're gonna stack your fingers, big inhale, and as you exhale, just reaching your fingers down your leg, staying curious. How does it feel compared to the other side? There's no judgment here, just kind of observing the differences. You can wiggle your toes, you can practice breathing in a little bit deeper, reaching farther on the exhales. I find it interesting that my left hip is tighter than my right, but my left hamstrings are looser than my right. I'm gonna look into that. Okay. Before I let you go, since you're on the floor and you're here and my shoulders feel tight, let's do some shoulder circles. So rolling the shoulders up towards your ears, back and down. Taking some nice inhales and exhales. Just getting some movement in our neck, in our back, in our arms. Change directions, rolling them up, forward, and down. Feeling those nice breaths. Okay, give yourself a pat on the back.